In this lecture, we're going to make our buildings heal as they're getting built and show that health on the UI if we have that building selected as it's building. Let's go. This is going to be a multi-part process where we need to start with our abstract commandable. Right now, on start, we're setting the current and max health to be whatever we have set up on the unit SO. But our buildings won't have start called until after they're enabled. And it's technically possible while they're being built that they were attacked. So for units, this will work just fine because they can't be damaged while they're building. But for buildings, it's not going to work quite right. So our current and max health both now need a protected set because we can see a divergence between the abstract unit and the base building. Let's cut this current and max health assignment from start and move it down to the abstract unit start. Now in base building, we're still going to want to set the max health, but we don't want to do it on start necessarily. We really want to do it whenever we first start building. This is really the entry point when a building is placed on the ground, right? But this component's disabled, which means awake and start won't be called yet. So at the top of this, let's call awake. And in awake, we're setting up this building SO, which has a public get. So if we tried to access that before just now, while it was being built, we could get an exception. Let's also assign the max health to the building SO health here. Our base building needs the ability to be healed, but why limit that just to buildings? Maybe a unit could be healed by something as well, right? Now let's come back to the abstract commandable. We need some way to heal. And we can tell that on our UI, we want to be notified when this unit has been healed if we have some certain conditions met. What does that sound like to you? Yes, it sounds like an event, but not an event bus, a localized event to this unit. Let's define a public delegate void health updated event that accepts the abstract commandable that was healed, the int last health, and the int new health. And then a public event, health updated event on health updated. That gives our UI the ability to be notified whenever the health changes, but we also need a way to perform the healing. Let's come down to the bottom and define a public void heal that accepts an int amount. We defined our delegate to inform whoever subscribed what the last health was, as well as the current health. So we need to take a snapshot of the current health with int last health equals current health. Then we can update the current health with current health equals mathf.clamp current health plus amount. And we'll say it can't be less than 0 and it cannot be more than the maximum health. Then we'll just invoke that delegate on health updated !invoke saying this is the unit being healed. Here's the last health and here's the current health. Now that we have a mechanism to heal, let's head over to the base building. Whenever we start building, we probably don't want the current health to start at 0. So why don't we just check at the bottom here, just before we do the event subscriptions, why don't we check if the progress is 0, and if so, we'll just heal 1 health. Just calling heal and providing 1 health. Now we'll at least start with 1 health, and we have all the piping in place to heal our building as it's building. Let's come over to the unit icon UI. Now we know we have an event that will be raised by an abstract commandable whenever they heal. And this unit icon UI is going to be the thing that needs to know about when this happens so we can properly update the health text. At the top, let's define a private abstract commandable. On enable for, let's set this .commandable to be the commandable provided. Let's do commandable.onHealthUpdated minus equals onHealthUpdated and then plus equals onHealthUpdated just to make sure we don't have any duplicates. On disable, if commandable is not equal to null, we want to unsubscribe. Let's define the private void on health updated that accepts the abstract commandable int, and this is the last health. We don't really need that here, so we'll just use the discard naming and an int current health. And here we're just going to set that health text format, just like what we did on enable for. We can copy paste that and shorten it a little bit because we're provided the current health, and that's all we need to do here. Before we get out of here, let's also make sure we set the commandable back to null on disable, so we reset our state properly. Let's come over to our build building action. And remember, this is the Unity behavior action that handles the actual building of the building. And you probably felt it coming. This lecture's challenge is to heal the completed building as it builds so its health linearly increases from that 1 health we just set up to the maximum health as it builds. I want to give you a hint because maybe the initial way you'll think about this is not going to work quite right. remember that it will eventually be possible for this building to take damage. It's a critical component for how you implement this. So pause the video, take a minute to think about it, get that healing working, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. The thing that we do not want to do is to do something like mathf.lerp from 1 to the max health based on the normalized time, because that's going to just lerp and not consider that the building has taken damage. Of course, there are multiple ways to approach it. The way that I'm going to do it is start with, at the top, a private float target health. And then on update, let's just do it before we move the building renderer. Set the target health to plus equals time.delta time times the building SO value health divided by the building SO value build time. If we say that our health is 400 and our build time is 60 or something of that nature, that tells us that every second we want to heal 6.666 whatever health. But then let's say that we're getting 60 frames per second. That means that every frame we're going to start adding this much health. That means we're going to increase the target health by this much. Then we can just check if the target health is greater than or equal to 1, because it's the minimum amount that we can heal for, because our health is stored as an integer. Then we can just say int heal amount to be mathf.floor to int that target health, because again, target health is a float. We need to convert it to an int. We can do completed building.heal heal amount, and then just subtract out the heal amount from the target health. That will reset us back down by that integer amount, and as we update, we'll keep healing. And that's all we were looking for in this challenge. This will allow us to heal a fixed amount, minimum of 1, and maximum of our total health. And if the building starts taking damage while it's building, it will spawn with that damage subtracted, because we'll heal, and then later we're going to implement the damage, so the health will be going down and up at the same time. Healing from here and down from the damage coming in from enemy units. Let's come back into Unity and click play. I still have my command post to build very quickly and to be free. So let's select a worker, build that command post. Once it's placed, select it, and here we go. We see that health is updating very quickly as it's going up from 1 to 400. Once it's completed building, it changes to the other UI that we saw before, and we see the proper amount of health. There we go. And if we just change that building SO to be 60 seconds, back to how we had it before, select a worker, build that command post, and we'll see that that health goes up much slower now. In this lecture, we learned how we can heal some buildings and show that health as the building is building using a localized health updated event delegate. That's all for this lecture. I'll see you on the next one.